Coming up next on Virginia Outdoor Life, visit a museum dedicated to ducks. It's the Atlantic Wildfowl Heritage Center. Plus, some great spring fishing is just around the corner, so you'd better get your boat ready. We'll take you step by step through the process. It's a fun-filled and informative half hour, and it's straight ahead on Virginia Outdoor Life. Next. Hi, and how are you? Welcome to the show. This is Virginia Outdoor Life for Saturday, March 1st. And this first day of March, we come to you from the Atlantic Waterfowl Heritage Museum here at the beach. I'm telling you what, this is one impressive place.
It is really nice. They've taken the DeWitt Cottage and turned it into a beautiful museum.
And we're going to take you inside and show it to you in just a couple of minutes. And also today, we're going out and we're going to get the boat all ready for the summer months, which I know you are extremely
That's right.
about.
Yeah, it's you have a sequence of things you do in the fall to get your boat ready for winter, and then there's another sequence you go through in the spring to get it ready for the summer season. We're going to go through that for the folks.
You ready to, kind of get out on it with shorts on instead of the park and everything?
You got it. But that'll be a while. Spring comes slow at the beach, believe me.
Yes, and on the water too.
That's what I mean. Yeah, on the water.
And we've also got our Outer Banks Adventure giveaway. We're going to be getting all that a little bit later. First, though, it's time to go inside. Bill Johnson is going to give us a tour of this place. I'm telling you what, this is a fantastic place. You ought to come down and check it out. But if you're not getting down here for a while, we'll take a look at this. We'll show you what's going on. Out of the wind, and now we're going to get a little tour, and who better to get a tour with than the director, which is Bill Johnson. Bill, this is a great place in here. What are we going to see in here today?
Well, Bob, glad to have you all here. This museum the purpose of this museum is to celebrate the history of the waterfowl art in our area. And I think this room in the main part of our museum will demonstrate that point pretty well.
Okay, well, let's walk in here and take a look. Where are we going to start here today?
This particular room is set up as the Hunt Club Lodge would have been set up. In other words, it's furnished in period furnishings and artifacts that have been donated to us or loaned to us. The old iron decoy on the mantle, the old clock, the old Seth Thomas clock, the artifact case with various pieces of paraphernalia that the waterfowler would have used, the old guns, the old decoys.
So the period we're talking about is right around the turn of the century.
Turn of the century, right. And we are very proud of the heritage that we have in this area of waterfowling and decoy making. And that's what this particular part of the museum sort of centralizes and expresses our mission. These are birds that would be entered into competitions, and there are numbers of them around the country of competition type shows. Our show will have a competition section. But these are contemporary decoys, and you can see there's quite a bit more detail in the feathers, in the extended wings, which you never would have seen in a gunning decoy because they would be breaking all the time. And so these are this side is the contemporary side.
And then over here, right over here, you've got the ones that were actually used back.
These are the real folk art, functional type of decoys.
This is the real deal, right?
These birds were hunted over many times, and
you can tell by looking at the paint jobs.
Oh yeah, they've shown a lot of wear. They've been shot and they've been heads broken and replaced and so forth and so on. These again are the Waterfield family, various ones of the Waterfield family.
Now, of course, Bill, if people actually want to see how you carve things, especially the way they used to back in the old days, they can come in a room here, and we've got a couple of guys doing that.
Yeah, we've got two of our members here today carving and demonstrating their craft, and Ken Wilson and John Harris, and they're making various and sundry pieces. This is a reproduction of an old-timey decoy that Ken has made, and these are some of the pieces that John has made. And you can see John sharpening his knife, getting ready to work on a head, and Ken's over there working on a miniature goose, it looks like.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bill, you were saying that the overall theme really of the museum is evolution, really, the evolution of the decoy.
Right, well, we celebrate the heritage of the waterfowl decoy and the wildfowl decoy. And this exhibit shows that how it started with very primitive birds, and then it comes down to more detail more detail as we get closer to the current time.
Right.
And so we show the evolution of wildfowl art from the old functional object to an art object. And that's what this exhibit shows. And we've got a couple of computer exhibits in there that are user-friendly, and this one's called the Paint-A-Duck. You pick your bird, and then you pick your paintbrush size, and then you pick your color. And then you touch the screen with your finger, and you can sit and paint a duck.
I was never really good at coloring outside the lines.
And then we have, you know, the exhibits that show how the birds are painted, the base paint, and then in the stages to get to the completed situation.
Well, Bill, before we get out of here, we want to mention one more time, you guys have a pretty big show coming up this week, or going on this weekend.
Right, yeah. Tomorrow it wraps up, and we're hoping that it'll be another successful show as it has been in the past. We really appreciate you coming.
Beautiful work, true artists that do these carvings. I mean, they are just absolutely gorgeous. Not just birds, they do fish, they do other things as well. It's a beautiful, beautiful setup.
So if you're looking for some carvings, come on out and check it out. I'm telling you, you won't be disappointed. Well, we got to take a break. We have still got the Outer Banks giveaway coming up, but up next, it's time to go get the boat ready.
That's right. We're going to go over to Marina Shores and see how to get your boat ready for spring.
Sounds good. Virginia Outdoor Life rolls on from the oceanfront next. Welcome back to Virginia Outdoor Life. We're here at 12th Street at the oceanfront today at the Atlantic Wildfowl Heritage Museum. You know, it's funny, it's kind of warm out here today, but when you get the breeze coming in off the water, you can feel that 40-degree water.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Yes, sir.
As you say, spring comes very late.
It comes late because of the cold water, but it does come. And
eventually.
In coming, you've got to have your boat ready for the spring season. You've got to de-winterize it, get it ready, maybe do some bright work, do some teat work, get some polishing done. But we're going to slip on over to Marina Shores and talk to the folks at Norfolk Marine, and they're going to show us just how to do that. This afternoon, we're at Norfolk Marine here at Marina Shores with Marty Slater. Marty is a mechanic for Norfolk Marine, and what we're going to do is look at what you need to do to your boat to get it ready for the summer season. It's been laying up in a trailer in dry storage or your grandfather's garage or wherever you've had it all winter. It's time to get it out, time to look at it and see what we need to do to get it ready for spring. Marty, of course, the motor is probably the most important thing that we have to get ready for spring. Now let's assume certain degrees of preparation for the winter. Folks winterize it a certain way. Where would we start with this boat here? What would we need to do for it for spring? Let's assume that they did most of the stuff they should have done in the fall.
If it was my motor in the winter, I would have had it just more or less power tuned and fogged down and just let it go until springtime.
Okay.
Then when you come back into it for the spring, you go ahead and change your gear lube, change your fuel filters.
Okay, the gear lube we would change in this lower unit, correct?
This part right down here.
And that's down here on the bottom?
Yep, right
there's
down
a big
there.
screw down here, right? Right there?
Yep, and there's one a little bit higher for the air.
For the air to come in, right.
Yep.
Okay, and now, what type of lube is this? Is this a special type of gear lube, or is this outboard gear lube?
It's a 90 weight outboard gear lube.
Okay, you're not using the synthetic in here then?
No, we don't use synthetics in the gear cases.
Okay. Okay, now this is a fuel injected. This is the newer
Yeah, this is
style.
a newer model.
Right.
You're more or less, just on your power head alone, you'd go ahead and start the motor up. Once you got it running and warmed up and all the fogging oil blown out, you'd go ahead and change your spark plugs, because more than likely they're going to be fouled from sitting with the oil.
Okay, so change the spark plugs, get them out of there.
Yeah, and that's basically it for the power head itself. Run it, check your temperatures and everything, make sure nothing's going wrong, make sure you have no fuel leaks, stuff like that, and then spray it down and put the cover back on it.
A lot of people in the spring have trouble with their steering. It's been sitting all winter.
Yep.
Either they didn't do it right or it didn't take right, and that steering gets binds up real bad.
Salt water eats everything up.
So make sure you get this particular piece here and keep, not only for the spring and the fall, but keep track of it all year. Whether it's the newer hydraulics like on this Yamaha, or you've got one of the older mechanical jobs, you want to make sure you get it very well lubricated, or it will cause you innumerable grief. Okay, now what about your prop shaft down here?
I would suggest pulling the prop just so it doesn't freeze on there, re-grease, clean it and re-grease it and put it back on, put a new cotter P in it.
Okay, there's some important equipment that's out of the way usually on most boats, the battery being the first part. What do we need to do for our batteries in the springtime?
Well, if they're pulled out during the winter, put them back in, of course. Make sure your ends are cleaned off and everything. And just put them back in more or less like you took them out. You're ready to go. If they got some years on them, and since you're out in the water, go ahead and change them then.
Right. I noticed these are cranking batteries. A lot of marine batteries are also deep cycle. For a boat like this, you wouldn't normally use a deep cycle, correct?
No, this motor is not made up to charge bigger batteries because they need a slow trickle charge,
Right.
more or less. You need to go to just a RV. You can use a minor deep cycle battery, but the big blocks, the 27 batteries, will never even charge it completely.
Right. And the fuel filter, we have a Raycor filter here. That is something that should be changed in the spring again, correct?
Yes. You might even run the boat a little while before you even change it, pick up any condensation, because the first thing you're going to get through there will be some water.
Right. Okay, hopefully last fall when you put your boat up, you gave it a good scrubbing before you put it up, but believe me, the winter grime and grease will be on that thing. It'll look like the dickens. So first of all, you want to give it a good scrubbing down. Then you want to come along and give it a good coat of wax. Get a good coat of wax on it to get it started. Then treat your vinyl. Get that nice and soft and ready, because the sun and the salt water just destroys that. And of course, if you have any serious stains, you can go to a spray 9 type of product to get that off. And if it's really bad, they got some hull cleaners that you have to use rubber gloves on, but hopefully you don't have that serious a situation. And of course, if you have fresh water, you want to put something in there to keep that from growing little fungi and little animals that get growing in your drinking water. So you want to make sure you take care of that. All right, we talked about the outboard motors. Now we have inboards, or in this case, an IO drive.
It depends what exactly you did to the motor. Again, if you drained the block and you left the plugs out just to be on the safe side, if you didn't change your oil, you fogged the motor down, it all really depends. Your first step is, of course, going to put them drain plugs back in.
Yeah, that'd be a help.
You got the gear case you got to worry about, make sure that's been drained and filled. Once you do that, you go ahead and start it like you normally would.
Right.
After you get it blown out, change your spark plugs, change your oil if you didn't do that in the winter, spray it down, check all your hoses, make sure none of them are split, dry rotted, check all your hose clamps, all your belts. More or less, this is almost like a car when you're just going over your belts and your hoses, but you got to be a little more careful.
Okay, Marty, I appreciate all your help.
You're welcome.
Of course, if anybody has any problems with their getting their boat ready, they can take it to Norfolk Marine. You all be happy to do it for them, right?
Yes, we would.
Right, and then they know it'll be done right.
Yep.
All right, thanks a lot, buddy. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. Okay, there's some helpful tips for getting your boat ready for spring. Now, if you prefer not to do that yourself, you'd like somebody to do it for you, just give this number a call over there at Norfolk Marine. They'll be more than happy to set you up with an appointment to get your boat ready.
About how long does it take them to do that?
A couple hours.
So it's not a big
Unless you want it
investment time-wise.
waxed and the teak all done, but I mean, no.
Okay.
And if it's done properly, if the tune-up, it's well worth the effort.
And it's about a twice-a-year thing. You take it in to get it ready
Yep.
for spring, then take it in to get
Ready
ready
for
for
the
winter
winter.
time, and you're all set.
You got it.
Sounds good. Well, what we got next is pictures. That's right, picture time. Outdoor Scrapbook is straight ahead. That's coming up in just a couple as we roll on from the Virginia Beach oceanfront. Welcome back to the show. We're here at the oceanfront at the Atlantic Wildfowl Heritage Museum. It's time for us to open up the Outdoor Scrapbook and do our thing,
There's
isn't
some
it?
wildlife.
I'm telling you what, you always find it down at the oceanfront.
Right.
Here we go. Let's open it up and start. And as long as we're going to start, I'm going to let you start. So go ahead.
Thank you very much. All right, this is Dylan Gregory of York County. He's got a 5-pound, 2-ounce largemouth bass. He caught that fish at Harwood Mill Reservoir. Nice catch.
That really is. That's going to be some good eating. Jerry Kane and Mark Sauer from Virginia Beach. That's Jerry with the 42-inch striper. That's a pretty good sized striper,
That's
isn't
a
it?
nice fish.
Mark's got two more big ones. They caught him in the bay in late December. Jerry's wife, Jeannie, sent in the picture. I wonder if she pronounced it Jean or Jeannie. I'm not sure. Probably both.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, she sent in the picture to surprise him. Surprise, guys.
Hey, surprise.
That's
All
a
right,
good
here's
haul.
Jeremy and Danny Moore from Portsmouth. Jeremy is 9, Danny is 12. They're posing with a trio of big catfish caught Lake Gaston last summer. So, good time, a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Now we got another, this is a big old flounder right here, 24.5 inches. Pam Thacker of Dutton caught this. She caught it at the Hatteras Inlet, and this picture was taken last November.
Right, in the fall they had a good run of flounder down there, and she certainly got one of the bigger
She
ones.
sure did.
All right, here we have Mike Miller from Hampton, 2 37-pound stripers, and he caught those at the Bay Bridge Tunnel. Nice fish.
Really. Claude Nicholson from Hampton sent us in a 37-pound striper. He caught that at the Bay Bridge Tunnel. I guess the striper running pretty good that day, huh?
Oh, I'm telling you. All right, here's Art McCormick of Suffolk. Art stripers are 19 and 23 inches, and he caught them west of the first island at the Bay Bridge Tunnel. So congratulations to all the folks, and we can always use more pictures.
Absolutely. So somebody wants to know when the Boston Mackerel Run is
Right.
going to be. When's that coming up this year?
Well, that's a very difficult thing to predict. We have not had a really good run of Boston mackerel since 1990. The National Marine Fisheries Service says that there are zillions of them, but they're for whatever reason staying beyond the range of most of our head boats. The commercial guys are catching them up way offshore, but they just have not come within range. If they do, they could start anytime in March or April. But I wouldn't hold my breath.
Okay. For somebody that's never fished that before, is that good fishing?
Oh, it's a lot of fun. You catch 5-6 fish every time you drop the line down. They're
Sounds
you know,
great.
about 1 to 2 pounds. They're not real good as far as freezing, but they're great to eat them fresh. We put a little Italian dressing on them and throw them in the grill, just right.
Gosh, I'm hungry now.
Yeah, sounds good.
We got to take one more break. When we come out, though, we're going back into Norfolk to the studios. We're going to draw and find out just who wins our big Outer Banks adventure. So stay tuned. Virginia Outdoor Life continues in just a couple of minutes. Outdoor Life. We're here in our studios, our offices, where we are finally ready to pick the winner for our big Outer Banks giveaway. But before we get to that, we want to tell everybody, we want to thank everybody that was involved with us, starting out with Pirates Cove. They are, of course, the ones that are giving us our deluxe accommodations.
That's right.
And if you want to go down there, if you don't happen to win but want to spend some of your own hard-earned money down there, they'd love to have you. Give them a call at 1-800-422-3610.
All right, and Captain Kenny Sexton's going to take us all fishing on the CJ4. You can get a hold of him at 919-441-5910, or you can call Pirates Cove again at 800-422-3610 to book a charter on the CJ4.
And finally, if that's not enough, we're also going to go hang gliding on the dunes, courtesy of Kitty Hawk Kites. If you're ever down there and you want to get in touch with them to partake in some of their great outdoor activities, the number is 1-800-334-4777.
Round and round we go. Where we stop, nobody knows.
Gosh, the excitement, you can feel it, can't
just
you?
builds and builds.
It really does.
Mix them up, stir them up,
Get
reach
in there.
down in there and pull out
Who we got?
treasure map.
All right.
Patricia Brooks from Newport News, Virginia.
Way to go, Patricia. You're on the way with us to the Outer Banks, so get ready and have some fun.
She got a picture of us on the cover.
How about that?
Well, you know,
I
you're
can't
on the
figure
left,
out,
of course.
I can't figure out which is which.
Well,
I'm
the
glad
bald
you
guy's
can.
got to be me.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I'm right behind you there. So, Patricia, congratulations, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks down at the Outer Banks. I'm ready to go. How about you?
Me too.
No,
Looking forward to it.
Unfortunately, we got some work to do beforehand,
Yes.
like next week with another show. We'll see you then. Go out, enjoy the rest of the weekend. He's Eric Burnley. I'm Bob Matthews.
Y'all take them easy.